All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Tilon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And today we are discussing We3, written by Grant Morrison and drawn by Frank Quietly, and published by Vertigo Comics. So, basically to get into it, we've covered a number of works from Grant Morrison. For those of you who might not know, we've covered Animal Man, Doom Patrol, Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth, Justice League of America, and The Invisibles by Grant Morrison.
I think of that list, I've only liked Justice League of America.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that one was the hardest one for me to get into. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe that one and Arkham. Oh, wait, actually, no. The Invisibles was also very hard to get into,
fair.
actually.
Like, maybe the most?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one at all.
Which one?
Oh, you don't remember the Invisibles?
Any of them.
Oh.
Saying the names, I'm like, I think I've read those.
Yeah, I mean, you have.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah, so, but I don't think that we've ever really talked much about Grant Morrison and his history. He was born January 31st, 1960 in Glasgow, Scotland.
Wow.
Yep, he's
Scottish.
Uh-huh. He's known for their non-linear narratives, humanist philosophy, and countercultural leanings.
Non-linear narratives, that makes sense.
Yeah, although not much for this story in particular.
It is fairly linear, the story.
Yeah. He started writing comics regularly in the mid-'80s with Warrior Magazine and Marvel UK. He wrote scripts. Also, I apologize ahead of time real quick because I've done it now 3 times and I'm going to try to make a better effort. This is at the end of the biography, but just going to skip ahead. They do go by they, them pronouns, and
yes.
So I will try to make a better effort to use that correctly. But yeah, they wrote for Warrior Magazine and Marvel UK, writing scripts for Doctor Who magazine and Spider-Man and Zoids.
What?
Don't ask me what Zoids are. It's a comic strip that Marvel published only in the UK.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, their first continuing serial was Zenith in 2000 AD magazine.
Like Judge Dredd?
Right, Judge Dredd is one story that's within 2000 AD.
Okay.
Yeah, and that story is about a child of World War II superheroes who is a pop star and is recruited to stop his parents' old nemesis.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and then Zenith got the attention of DC, which led to Animal Man. And that led to a long history of him working with DC/Vertigo, which, ultimately into the 2000s led to him, them writing We3 with frequent collaborator Frank Quietly. And so Frank Quietly, also a Scotland native, born in Rutherglen, excuse me.
Okay.
In 1968, he was born Vincent Patrick Deigman, but he decided in 1990 to use the pen name Frank Quietly. I keep going back and forth on those. We talked about this off mic.
Yeah. It looks like quiet and then with a Lee.
Yeah. And it's a spoonerism of Quite Frankly.
Spoonerism?
Yeah, spoonerism.
I haven't heard that before.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get that
Yeah.
before you said it.
Yeah. And a spoonerism is like, kind of an incorrect or a changing of a phrase, basically.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and something that's not quite right, kind of. But yeah, and he chose that pen name, or just a pen name in general, just because he was afraid that his family would see his work and find it upsetting. Yeah, and then his first major American work was the 4-issue mini Flex Mentallo, which was a spin-off of Doom Patrol, and that was also his first collaboration with Grant Morrison.
That's interesting. Wait, it was a spin-off of Doom Patrol. Oh, because there's a character. Okay.
In Doom Patrol called Flex Mentallo.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, you said spin-off, and I just thought like it was a spoof. And I was like,
no.
That's kind of weird that they would have Grant Morrison do both.
No. Yeah, and then they would later collaborate again on JLA Earth 2, and then New X-Men, and then on to We3.
And that's not the end of his career.
No, he has worked on other things since then.
Like Jupiter's Legacy.
Yes.
Which we have read.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to bring that up. Like,
yes.
That's the one part of his career you know.
Well, yes, because that's the one part of his career I know.
Yes, yeah. That was with other Scottish comic book writer, Mark Millar. Yes.
Yep. Which, until we read Wanted, never knew Mark Millar was Scottish.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. He is the career son of Grant Morrison.
And then Frank Quitely also did All-Star Superman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then, of course, a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of work. Both Frank Quitely and Grant Morrison have continued to find work into the 2020s. But yeah, getting into We3, this is kind of a smaller work than what we usually cover, just 3 issues. Jake, you chose this one. Was there any particular interest in it?
No, not other than it was I went through and found the other book I had that was by Grant Morrison. That's like one of his smaller works that was called Mystery Play. And then I found that and I was like, oh man, I wonder what else Grant Morrison has done. And I'd be like, then I looked up on the store, like, okay, so there's one about that I might choose later that's about a boat, I guess. And then there was this one, and this one was only 170 pages, so I picked it instead of the other one, which was 330 odd pages.
Wow.
So in a short week, we're reading this one.
All right.
Fair. I did read this under 40 minutes. Or, well, around 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was...
Under an hour.
Yeah. All right, yeah. This book, it involves basically the government experimentation on 3 I'm gonna say kidnapped pets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, when you see
lost posters at the beginning.
Yeah, the handwritten posters for the animals by the children.
Yeah.
I would presume that those are like in the universe.
Well, yes, but allegedly covers it, so in case we're legally charged, which would
by
make
the
no
people
sense.
in the comic books.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's very Grant Morrison with the fiction suits.
Which, first of all, I didn't even think about that. Like, there's so many animals in shelters. I'm not saying you should, but like, what a roundabout way to fund.
There is enough money
secret.
around. You could just buy those animals. You don't have to steal them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, so I mean, Tom King once worked for the CIA, right?
Yes.
And so Grant Morrison, maybe under the table, worked for the government. Oh,
No.
Turns out,
Doing
hey,
what?
I don't know, animal testing. And
Now
then,
this is where you get like,
See this?
yes.
Yeah, you are just like defaming Grant Morrison.
Okay, for the record, I'm totally kidding. I'm not being serious.
He's winking at the camera.
I'm not even looking at the camera. What are you talking? I'm looking at Cody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odd way. Yeah, to do a government project.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I guess it is technically untraceable if you steal what you're going to work on. They can't prove that you ever
from
had
a shelter, then nobody's even looking for it.
Also true. You're right.
Why am I encouraging them to adopt, not shop?
Yeah, arrest Shawenta. Not me.
Shawenta's not saying real comic book author Grant Morrison stole those pets.
Allegedly.
Pets were stolen for what purpose, though?
For animal testing. Making super killer robots. That is in the comic.
Evangelion, but animals.
A little bit.
Man, why
not really though.
Yeah,
I know.
Why didn't the three of them ever come together to make a super mecha, honestly?
They kept saying like they were engineered to work as a team. I thought they were kind of come together into like one big super weapon.
There you go. Allegedly.
Okay, so like they're weapons. They're in these weird suits, right? They're hooked up.
Yeah.
But they're also being controlled using a little video game controller.
Mm-hmm.
Is it them that's doing, or is it the super advanced like phase 4?
There's like a drone.
It depends. Like the rats are controlled by
remote
controllers.
Control, yeah.
I don't think the We3 are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the characters of the story are, or the main characters, a dog who was called Bandit. He is, by the government, considered number 1. A cat who was known as Tinker, who's number 2. And a rabbit who is known as Pirate is number 3. And if you didn't, catch on from our jokes about it, they all have this robotic armor that, basically makes them killing machines. They are able to form limited amounts of speech and also understand human speech to a limited capacity through skull implants. And basically they've already sent them on missions to assassinate political enemies in foreign countries. The story starts with them assassinating some sort of foreign leader. I can't remember what country or if it says.
I thought it was here in America.
Was it in America? No,
it was some Central American / Latin American politician, I think.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I mean, if we're going to extrapolate to like the actual history of the United States government, it was probably somebody who was trying to impose communism.
I mean, to be fair, it's never really stated, so
it's no that is an extrapolation based on real world events, not on actual story events.
They're just using them already in the field.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then what is it, like the senator comes in to view them?
Yeah, to basically just see, give a demonstration so that potentially create more of these things and start using them in more publicized combat in wars and such. This is post 9/11, so the US is quote unquote at war. And then basically the lead researcher on this project,
Roseanne
Barry. Yeah, she basically, so the senator who's visiting, basically after he's done with the visit, a general that's kind of in charge of the project says to decommission We3.
Yeah.
And so,
not because he doesn't like what's happening, but
No.
just because they look kind of weird.
yeah.
Which,
but also they talk.
He's down for killer robots,
Yes.
but they look too creepy, so you got to dial that back.
As they say, why would you make a killer robot talk?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little weird that they allowed them to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Also fair.
They're calling him stinky. Like, what is it? The cat calls him Stinky Boss.
Yeah, Stink Boss.
Mm-hmm. They speak very broken, sentences, like one word at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why they're the general basically is like, yeah, decommission them. I like the project.
Like, good results, good idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the drawing board, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Making me feel a little weird.
Yeah, and he's aware of the 4th iteration of the project anyway. We don't get to see that at first. But, that one doesn't talk.
Yeah. See, where they messed up, though, was that they got dogs, cats, and bunnies to be their prototype. And if you know anything about people get attached to animals real quick.
Yeah.
And that is what happened here.
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Yeah, and the Rebecca Berry, she's like...
Roseanne.
Roseanne, sorry. Roseanne Berry, she's, basically makes it so they can escape because, they also talk about decommissioning them in front of them.
Yep.
And so when they have the opportunity to escape, they take it. And honestly, Roseanne thought that they were... Huh?
I thought you were going
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
you're back.
What was that, Shwenta?
just earlier, Talon talking about cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to say that cats and dogs will never get along. Why would they be teammates?
Yeah, this is a good point a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised that, basically that there wasn't some sort of like animal,
all dog team, all cat team.
Yeah, or just difficulty of the 3 of them working together. Like,
I feel like you skipped over some scenes.
Did I?
Like, they definitely had difficulty. They definitely argued.
Well, yeah, they argued. I don't know if it's because they were cats and dogs.
Well, no.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like,
So, okay, you think like some innate, like, inherited thing.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Dealing with their animal side and their
Gotcha.
more taught, for lack of a better term, human side,
Gotcha.
But
Fair.
yeah. Anyway, though, yeah, they do escape from the facility.
Well, aided by Roseanne Berry.
Yeah, and Roseanne did think that they were going to kill her to, like, she was essentially committing suicide. Because she felt like, I'm doing this, but like, there's no way they're gonna let me get away with doing this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot easier if I just die.
Fair.
For like basically committing this treason. But yeah, they don't kill her on the way out, because she's not deemed as a threat. She's basically the only ones that the only one that kind of cared about them.
Literally.
Yeah. So yeah, they go on a mission to find home, which they don't really know what home is either, but...
Yeah, I kind of gather it's probably where the dog thinks like they're from, or bandit.
Right. Yeah. They are generally trying to get back to where they came from, but...
Yeah, or another option would be where Roseanne is.
No, they're not trying to get back to her because she was there.
Yeah.
At the facility. Yeah.
True.
It's just, generally they're trying to find a safe place to live where they won't be tracked down.
Yeah. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. And basically, yeah, so they have different, kind of situations where they run into people who find them and get scared, like the man who thinks that they are aliens and shoots a pirate in the head.
Oh, yeah.
Which disables most of his capability to talk.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do kill the man for that. His son does survive because he ran off.
Only to grow up and hunt them down.
No,
that is my fan fiction.
Well, he'll have a hard time.
Yes.
Yeah, they send the little robotic rats that they have created in a similar fashion, remote controlled rats, which I'm like, so they showed off that the rats could work together to create a jet engine from trash.
Yeah.
And they were like, but consider larger animals and killing people.
It's like,
and I'm like, wait, you actually made something better the first time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it like Ant-Man, They're like, no one's gonna like ants. You have ants put sugar in your coffee.
No, I'm fine with rats creating my jet engines, actually.
That is actually probably fine.
Yeah.
I feel like if you revealed that to people, like, there's probably some people who are like, oh, it's unethical, but like, I feel like most people would be fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, don't have like rats working in my restaurants. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Like, I'm not for a Ratatouille situation here.
You hate Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Ratatouille needs to go to work in the mines.
I mean, why not? Like, I mean, especially if they did jobs that were like, basically like stimulating to the things that rats like to do,
Fair.
like solving puzzles and digging and, stuff like that. I'm like,
hey, rats, I got a deal for you.
I mean, not to get off track, but they have taught rats to drive little cars, and they really enjoyed it, that they would do it on their own.
Whoa, Stuart Little? Really?
Oh, shut up about Stuart Little.
That's kind of cool, though. I want rats to have fun driving cars.
Mm-hmm. They had fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they chose to do it even when the experiment wasn't going on.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, though, yeah. So they send the rats out, and then like while they are battling the rats, they also send out We3, which is a
bulldog.
Yeah, a mastiff.
Oh, okay.
And basically it is even more brutal. Is just like the next iteration of the project,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's able to kill pirate, but it basically the military that sends We3 after We3 does not really realize the ability that We3 had to work as a team. And so they are able to kill We3.
And Pirate is the bunny?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Pirate's the bunny.
Yeah. So, like, you see, right, like, their attack was basically scratch out this dog's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like, oh, yeah. Only a cat would do that.
Yeah.
That was creepy.
Yeah. This book is pretty bloody.
Yeah.
A bit gory.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, we'll get into a little bit later, but I think that Frank Quietly's style gives to that pretty well.
Gotcha.
But yeah, then Bandit and Tinker are able to escape. They do. Oh yeah, that's right. They do have interaction with a a homeless man. This is before We3 attacks them. And basically he's like, he's kind of the first person that's not just like put off by them. He is like surprised and shocked, but he's like, all right, you stay here. I'm gonna see if I can get you food and medicine and stuff, because that's right, they need regular medicine to keep them kind of working and stuff. Otherwise they'll just get sick and die.
And escaping from the facility, they no longer had access to those things.
Yeah. And so later on they kind of realize that after the run-in with We3 that they are better off unenhanced, and so they shed their robotic armor, and they set off the missiles that were in their armor basically and blow up the building that the soldiers were in that were there to get them, and basically enough like kind of witnesses and destruction happens that the government gets found out, and there's like a Senate hearing, and that's right, also the last opportunity kind of was for Roseanne Barry to kind of lead them out so that they could get shot by snipers.
Oh, that's why she was there.
Yes.
Right before the missiles went off? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I forgot that.
Yeah.
bit.
And she does, basically, she does actually sacrifice herself so that they can once again escape.
Right.
And she gets shot by the snipers. Yeah. And so basically the government, the people find out about, these experiments, and they have a hearing in the future. The two animals that survived, Tinker and Bandit, they've been adopted by the homeless man, and they've gotten, their implants taken out, so that they are back to just being normal animals. Yeah. And
so I took from the homeless man, like, he ran to the government, or I guess police. I don't know who they were necessarily, to like turn them in.
No, I don't think so.
So he was just found out?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because he was all like, basically when they came, he was all like, I'm not going to sell out these animals to you.
He said, like, you'll get a lot of money if you go back and something.
Yeah.
Lead us to them, something of that sort. He's like, wow, I could use a lot of money, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, he says you're fascists.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That was my first interpretation, I guess, is like, because he walked out of that like enclosed area that they were in, and immediately was met with them, and I was like, oh, is he selling them out?
No. Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like undercover Asian or something.
Yeah.
Interesting. No. Yeah, and then there was also a second scientist who was like, basically he was going to the hearings that were starting up, and he was, basically the work partner of Roseanne Barry. And he gives like, just hundreds of dollars to the man, so that the animals get taken care of,
Yeah, he was the main guy on the project.
Right.
Didn't he also give a scathing testimony or something like that?
Right, yeah. He basically, like, he realized, that this work was wrong, and,
Which, okay, you were making a robotic dog. A robotic
cybernetic.
Cat. Cybernetic.
Yeah.
Dog. A cybernetic cat. A cybernetic rabbit. How is it till now you thought, oh, this is not great?
But Talon, think of the good it could do for the country.
What are you talking about? What it's good?
A war without human lives. So it's fine. And then humans started dying anyway.
Yeah.
So that's bad.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened. He was like, man, humans weren't supposed to die. And then the the humans start hunting down the animals, and the animals kill them. Like, this didn't work the way that I thought it
Should
would.
have given those animals missiles.
Yeah.
I should have made them weaker.
Or at least, like, did a fail-safe mechanism, like, blows up the brain
just
or
like
something
a
like
button
that.
you can press.
Yeah.
It feels like that's a really big oversight. That there's a button you can press that turns them off.
I feel like I'm mixing this up with something else, but it was like, oh yeah, I thought about it, but I couldn't do it, so I didn't. Like, did he say something like that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, I'm clearly mixing with something else.
But yeah, pretty big oversight not to do that. Yeah, but that's pretty much where it ends. So yeah, if you just wanna, we should talk about how we felt about this book in general.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I'll also go into what I was saying earlier. I think that Frank Quitely's art is like very grotesque, or lends itself to being grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Just like things being lumpy and just kind of gross.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of Little Bird, I think. But it wasn't quite on that level.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they have similar styles. I can't quite remember who it was that was on that book, but yeah. I guess...
I mean, this is kind of more realistic than Little Bird, so yes. I found it grosser.
Yeah. I would agree with that, too.
I have a different... Just because of how lumpy everything was in Little Bird, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I would honestly have to look back through that book. I'm like, I remember, but not enough to make like a direct comparison,
Fair, yeah.
But yeah. I think that... Do you feel like this book would have benefited from being longer, or do you think 3 issues was just where it needed to be?
No, I think it absolutely would have helped to be longer. I think they should have started more on like the origin of the project and then having them like be sent out. Because for me,
you wanted to see those animals happier first before they got ripped away from their families.
No, not like, I don't mean that far back. Necessarily. Okay. I mean, it might work that way, but for me, what happened was they set all this up, like they had the doctors be like, or the scientists be all, oh, we're worried, like we've grown attached to these animals, like we don't want them to go. Oh, we are terminating this project. And it was just too early on in the book. You hadn't set up any of, like, I hadn't grown attached to the animals either. And so it was like, I want them to die. Like,
I'm down there, Taylor.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're killing human beings. Like, yeah. Why should I care?
You mean you don't instantly...
I don't care about those faceless human beings.
Yeah, no, I don't. I care way more about the dog and the cat.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
What?
I refuse to watch Homeward Bound since I was a child because I have vague memories of it being some sort of sad movie about animals. I refuse to watch that. And this gave me the same vibes the moment I picked it up. I was like, oh, they're making the animals do things. Horrible things. And I was like, no.
The only reason the animals are killing people is because other people, like, crafted them to do so. The animals don't want to hurt anybody.
But to me, it's like, I don't care enough about these animals to sympathize with them trying to fight for their lives. Like,
do they need to like explore their hobbies more? Like, what is gonna take to humanize these animals to you, Talon? They're animals. They're not very smart, and that's the saddest part.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I can go both ways here. On the one hand, I'm like, it might be interesting, at least, to see them build more complicated, well, not complicated even, but just like a deeper relationship between each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of that is just assumed, I think.
Yeah.
You know, because like, why didn't they just like, you know, go their separate ways when they escaped the research facility? Well, it's because they feel like they belong together, you know. So like some of that might have been nice. Like even if we just saw, you know, the more of the last mission they went on, that assassination, you know, that went super fast, you know. Mm-hmm. And I get the impetus to do that because it's like, oh, these things are killing machines. They're so fast. It's like, bam, it's done, you know.
Yeah.
All of this action is happening. But at the same time, it's like, well, we didn't really, you know, if we're supposed to be like, yeah, sympathizing with these characters and treating these animals as actual, like, characters, you know, then we do want to, like, understand how they interact with each other in a normal environment, I guess. But I'm not sure that that's necessary either, but I can see where you're coming from too.
And I would have even maybe also include why does Roseanne want to protect them so much? Like, to me, like, I would want more of that too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, committing treason and, like, you know, essentially sacrificing your life is a lot.
And well, not just essentially, but also in the end, sacrificing your life.
Yeah,
like,
literally, eventually. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they make the offhand comment that like she can't get along with humans, but she can with animals. But yeah, we don't really see it. It's definitely the kind of story that lends itself to being short with how it is. Like, I don't think the cat or the dog or the rabbit are supposed to be really unique, right? It could be any cat, any dog, and that's kind of the sad part of it. But yeah, I think it would have been devastating to see them happy in their homes. Or like, so what kind of, you know, home they're going back to, because they're like, the dog talks about going home and the cat's like, we don't have a home anymore. And it's like, we never got to see what kind of good home they might have been in. We don't see how bad they might have been treated or what killing other people might have put them through.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely could have been a lot darker and more devastating. Potentially.
I'm just not advocating for that because I'm already like, I don't need any more of that.
Let it be stated on the record. Shawenta does not
could have been
advocate.
sadder.
Okay, scratch that from the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the length overall. I don't think I was missing very much. I feel like all the stuff that I needed was in the book. If that makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think.
I was actually under the impression that this was a longer series. Like, I've always seen it in passing, like the promos and whatever, and reviews being like, oh, this is really good story. And I just, like, thought that it continued, that they had to continue to escape. So I was really surprised by how short it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been more devastating if it was drawn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they get so sick in like issue 2, is it? Because they don't have their meds.
Yeah.
It's just gross.
Yeah.
Yep. And I agree too, like having it more time on them running would have been better too.
I feel like that would have gotten repetitive after a while.
I did not say that would be better. I just said that would have hurt.
Well, it would have hurt you more. Okay, yeah.
Which is the same thing.
Continuing the torture.
Well, but after a while, like, how many times can you have them fight and not get captured before that gets old?
That's what I mean.
Feel like even in this, like, we see the helicopters and we see the rat, and then we get kind of some breathing room before they get to the city, and then it's 4, and then they're in the house, right? So even in those like 4 or 5 fights they have, after the 3rd or 4th, I was getting kind of done with it.
Well, and I don't just mean like have them running more, but I like expanding upon that. Like, I think they could have made that work with just delving into more of that, their dynamic, or delving more into the humans behind that, because, you know, they maybe humans have more depth.
Yeah.
You know, I think they should have just wandered into like the forest, met a sweet old lady, been taken in as pets by her, and then watched her die horribly. You know, just different ways of extending this.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. I'm gonna jump in and say that, like, I think,
sarcastic.
Like, you know, if you were interested in extending it, yeah, like at some point, really, you would have to actually take on a human character that's able to get more stuff done, basically. Because it's like, okay, you know, we've established they need medicine, so then we'd have to, like, you know, have somebody that can, like, you know, break in and get the medicine, or you know, and then it's like, okay, well, we have to free the other animals, you know, that kind of thing. But they only have so much power to do stuff like that. You know, it's mostly power to kill things, because that's what they were designed to do.
Now, I just had this brilliant idea. If this was made, I don't know, 10, 11 years later, right? They'd have a John Wick crossover. That's the human that they meet. I'm like, all right, I'm breaking in and stealing it for you.
Right.
I mean, technically not the worst idea I've heard, but
yeah, it'd be interesting. But where I was going with that, I don't want to get too sidetracked. Fair. I think that what Grant Morrison probably was going for, and the reason that it's so short, is to kind of make more of a statement about, like, you know, the non-ethicality of using animals that are pets for, like, you know, any sort of work purposes, I guess, you know. Like, I mean, just the fact that, you know, they need this medication, which, I mean, granted, that is a condition that was created by the scientists, but it's like, you know, basically pet animals need so much care and supervision to survive, you know, that, like, basically it's like, I feel like they are trying to say that it is on humans to take care of these beings, you know, and not make their lives, you know, suffering, basically. Because essentially we did create, or not essentially, we did create domesticated animals. Like, not you and me, but the general we.
Yeah.
You know?
Society.
Yeah.
Society.
So, you know, it's up to society to take care of them. And
I mean, the final thing, right, is using their loyalty against them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then she rejects that in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sacrificing herself.
I don't necessarily know if that's what Grant was going for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I thought you were going to make the much more literal thing of, like, we should stop using animals for testing is what the message is supposed to be.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think that also, you know, applies into that. You know, just because, like, I mean, really anything like, police dogs and military dogs, the like a lot of studies have come out to show that they end up developing PTSD and are not the same after working those jobs.
Dang. Welcome to being a human being.
Well, yeah, but they didn't sign up for it. They didn't get the option. They just got adopted and
well, they are an animal.
Yeah.
So
it's not
get up is what Taylor's saying.
Yeah.
See, okay.
If we sign children up for soldier jobs, they should just deal with it.
Yeah, welcome to being human.
Where I draw the line is specifically like I don't know if it's like cutting or dissection, but like what the doctors did in this comic was like mess with their like bodies to like, all right, and now you are a killing machine.
Also their brains,
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, why? And so to like that, but I don't necessarily say a guard dog or a police dog or military dog as the same thing. But,
yeah, I don't know. It can make their life worse, though, is what the studies have shown. So, but
this comic specifically, I don't know. Is it just about animals, or are they supposed to be representative humans? I guess they would probably have more personality if they're representative humans.
Right.
Yeah.
We can piece together kind of like their feelings, but they speak very much like one word. Like very
I don't know,
broken.
maybe the basic idea of humans as soldiers. I don't know, there's the Mastiff, which like not even able to talk. And they consider that perfect.
Right. Like
I feel like to me it is like, anti-animals in a workforce and then anti-war in general. I don't think that the animals are supposed to be like stand-in for humans, though.
Yeah, no. I would agree if Grant Morrison said we shouldn't. Well, okay, I would agree if this was the message. I would agree with this message of like no domesticated animals. I'd be like, okay. Yeah.
Let's use the wild animals.
Yeah, just leave them out in the wild. Like,
or wait, I want to be clear. You're saying don't have
for what?
Don't have pets.
What?
Okay,
don't have pets.
Don't have pets.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the statement that you are here to agree with.
I would totally
get
be
rid of
okay
them.
with it. Yep, no pets.
Stop having pets.
Stop creating specific dog breeds. Like, we don't need that.
Right. Yeah. So there's some minutia, I think.
And nuance.
Some nuance. Yeah. Because I think that it's dog breeding. I think, not to get too much on a track of like, being preachy of like, what I personally feel, but there is, people who feel that dog breeding is unethical, and, also selling instead of adopting, and also not neutering and spaying pets to,
This comic is about that, though, I should say.
This comic is about what?
I don't think the comic is about we shouldn't have
okay.
pets.
Oh, yes. I agree.
We're getting sidetracked here. I realize this is a much more obvious, like, anti-war book, and we're getting stuck on
animals.
But animals, though, where I think that's the point that Grant Morrison was trying to make, where it's like, if we pursue war at any cost, it will bring us to doing stuff like this.
Ooh, that's good. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. I can agree with that, yeah.
Jake, voice of reason. Thank you.
Like, we're getting stuck on, we need to abolish husbandry. And it's like, guys, it's not about the animals.
You just need to stop domesticating sheep.
Man, that is really good. I like that, Jake. I
will say I realized that I was getting off on a sidetrack. I recognized that, But also, I do think that Grant Morrison, like, holds animals like very close to their heart. So I think it is at least lightly about that. But I agree that, yeah, this might be greater about like being anti-war.
Yep. No, I'm going with that. That was very good, Jake.
All
It's
right,
the war
back
that
to
is bad.
Yeah.
grander scale. I like this book. I think it is roughly as long as it needs to be. I really like the art, especially like the gore. I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's anything like spectacular. I probably wouldn't have even mentioned it if you guys hadn't, but it's there, so I guess it's worth a mention.
Mm-hmm.
What I really liked, at least I think I really liked, was some of the panel layouts that we get through the book.
Mm.
I like them, but I found them really interesting. Sometimes I don't know what they were trying to communicate necessarily. Like the flow felt a little weird, but they were super unique.
Yeah.
And cool to look at.
Yeah.
Did they always serve the story though?
I'm specifically thinking about the panel layouts where the panels are squares and they like you're looking at the squares like, well, not moving, but like moving across the screen like at different angles. Like it's more I don't even know what to say, like more straight on one end, and then it gets continually like you're looking at it sideways, and then it goes the other way.
Okay, like
so you're looking at them sideways, like from an angle, right? And then the animals were going through each one. Yeah.
I thought that was super interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think that's, for some reason, reading those or seeing those panels specifically just spoke to me as like this was early 2000s. I don't know why, but that
is that like a qualifier? Is that good or bad? Like, what do you mean when you say that?
I mean, that's probably bad. I don't know. It's like, okay, yeah, I know when this came out. Yeah, I don't even know if it's old fashioned. It just is like, it harkens to an older time, I guess.
It was 20 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the coloring really made it feel dated to me.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah, it's a very like digital coloring that it doesn't, hide the fact that it's digital.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what did bother me though? This is a weird little thing that bothered me. I don't feel like there was any sound effects when I always expected there to be.
That's a good point.
Okay. Yeah. I
don't
like recall any.
There's a few, but not necessarily where you would expect, like Shawanta said. Like when there's big splash pages of action, it's like, wait, there's bullets firing, there's rabbits being eviscerated.
Maybe they're just quiet.
Nice.
Quiet bullets from helicopters.
Jake, high five.
Yeah, sure.
High five from across the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a interesting weird point that I did not notice. Yeah, not very many sound effects. I saw, like, when you said that, I was like, well, there's one, but then I kept flipping, and I was like, okay, they put one sound effect in.
Yeah, when the cat, like, makes a noise one time.
Yeah.
It was odd. I feel like it left more room for the art, so in some ways it's like a snapshot moment.
Right.
There's also still sometimes, like, I think the train scene, I was like, there's no sound effects. What am I supposed to be hearing?
Yeah. It's a little bit distracting.
I was going to say, thinking about the layouts, though, that one section with the security cameras. It was hard to follow, but I really liked it still. It felt in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it would have read better for me, physically, rather than digital, which, I mean, to be fair, is the originally intended medium. But yeah.
Don't buy digital, kids.
Yeah, if you can do physical, I recommend it. It's just that at the rate that we read things.
Yeah. There's no comic panel budget.
Yeah. But yeah, doing what is that? Like a 3x5 15 panel grid.
Yeah, that's different.
Mm-hmm. Kind of cool. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, I think it's a lot to focus on a small space. If it was bigger, you know, like it would work a little bit better for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the way that I felt in general about the creative use of like panel layout, was just that like, oh, this is hard to focus on because there's like so much detail going on, you know?
Yeah, there was one panel that they did where it was, you know, one panel and then very small squares.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like drawn on top of them.
Right.
That were individual panels. That was also confusing. But and I think that was when the animals were attacking the people in the truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was showing bits of the action.
Wait, I mean, so it's like, I like what you were thinking. I just like what ended up happening. I'm like,
Yeah, it's basically showing the scenery of what's happening from an outside perspective, and then also trying to capture the experience of the people who are dying. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of information. You're like, you know, on one single page, you're asking me to basically take two different perspectives, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot. But again, creative, interesting.
I mean, this is just a simple example too, but there was one panel where they show us that these are like right before the reveal that they were animals inside there, because their suits, at least to me, look like bugs. Because you didn't see their face. And so then they take off the helmet, I guess, and then it reveals that they're animals.
Right.
But right before that panel, they had a panel where it was just the truck, and you saw the people sitting in there with the other animals, and it was like, oh wow, that's like, I don't know, for me that was unique.
Yeah. Was it this one? Yeah. Around page 21, it was cool to see like kind of like a X-ray almost of like, you know, this is just a normal truck. Don't worry about it. And then it's like, ooh, but actually it's a government truck with like, you know, animal robo suits and people on computers in seats that are hanging from the roof of the truck for some reason. Yeah. Cool. It's kind of cool. Yeah. I feel like, this, like, you know, kind of bridging together the, you know, how we were talking about this feels like, you know, or 2000s, early 2000s, and also the interesting, like, panel layouts and stuff. I feel like a lot of this is like, look at what I can do with digital art. You know,
fair.
I've been doing hand-drawn art in the 90s, but now this stuff is accessible. I can do all this stuff.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I appreciate it.
Yeah. I appreciate it too, you know, like for what it is. It's like I can put a panel here, and I can make a fuzzy, you know, a fuzzy around a panel, you know, image and fuzzy around and clear in the center.
I can make a panel and have it like tilted. Like I enjoy the creativity.
Yeah. The little like bubbles of blood when the rat with a drill head is controlled to drill at a different rat.
I love to do that little bubble thing, and I was like, that's so weird to me.
Yeah. It is. Like, it looks like they're doing that, but they're in, they're like on a space station.
Gotcha. What would it be, what would it look like if it was less weird?
Like, I mean, I'm used to the, like, splash kind of effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just perfect spheres of blood.
Gotcha.
In midair.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little weird.
Yeah. I guess I didn't necessarily take
you were
that
ready
into
for
account.
The blood spheres.
I mean, I didn't think about the fact that it didn't look like blood.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
I mean, in theory, that's what it would be before it actually comes in contact with anything, right?
Right. Yeah, it seems like the idea is to get, the snapshot of the action happening, not the snapshot of the action having happened.
Okay, so the difference between being on the train taking pictures of the train and being outside the train taking pictures of the train.
No. I mean, maybe, but also that example seems more complicated than what I was meaning. The thing is, like, I mean, I'm looking at a different example in the comic. The cat has, like, razor claws that can shoot through people, and so it shoots one of those down into a soldier's face, through its nose and out its chin. And basically, like, that blood is in the act of spraying. It is not landed on anything yet, which is maybe what traditionally you would show. You would, in like, I guess, traditional comics art parlance, you would show one panel at least of the action happening, about to take place, and then the effect of it happening, and you imagine the in-between. But instead, it's doing one panel of the action happening.
I gotcha. They're illuminating the gutters.
Yeah, or just choosing different stuff to highlight.
Yeah,
I guess.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Which, yeah, is interesting. Again, I can't. Yeah, it's.
I think where I'm at is, like, I recognize this, but I wish I liked it more.
Right.
It's like, I don't want, like, I want more creativity, but also this didn't work. So don't take that to mean do the normal standard.
Right. I want more creativity, but it has to be good creativity.
Experiment of failure.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm not saying, like, I don't like, because it failed, I don't like it. Like, I like the creativity. It just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I think we all keep saying it's very unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very unique.
And then sometimes we go, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think.
Is that how you felt about the story overall, Talon?
No. The story overall for me was just, like, there was not enough there. It was too short for me. Or things weren't.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Like you said, you didn't care enough about the animals. Mm-hmm. Which kind of, like, makes most of the story fall flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, too, I don't think I necessarily wanted it longer, but it did kind of, like, I mean, we had that whole discussion about, like, what is this, like, really about? And, even though I agree, it's like, the, what is wrong with, like, war in general, I'm not sure that came through enough. I'm not sure it was effective at, conveying that message enough, that it was just kind of like, okay, this was, like, an interesting enough story, but I'm not sure that I felt, like, fulfilled, like, I got a lot of value out of it. It was just like, okay, that was the thing I read, and it didn't really make me, have a lot of thoughts or feelings,
I guess for the ending too, like they're just with some dude, and they still look kind of decrepit.
Yeah,
they look kind of just like. I mean, the dog looks kind of dumb.
great costume, blending in real nicely.
Well, yeah, I mean, the animals are back.
Dog.
They're back to being no longer intelligent.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're back to being just regular. Yeah.
Interesting. How long did it take for them to lose their brilliance?
I mean, assumably as soon as their metal implants got taken out.
Well, I mean, I assume it had to be long enough for them to get out to survive the explosion.
Right. Cause the thing explodes, they eat a rat, and then time passes, and they have the metal implants taken out, and they're with the homeless man. I don't know. Yeah, that just doesn't get elaborated on how that happened, or you know.
I have the same thought too with them. So when the We3 attacks them, and like they take down that We3, but they escape. But then it's like one panel of them in the grate, and then now it's the next day, the next panel. It's like you didn't explain really how they escaped. So
yeah, I can kind of see that. I would have to kind of go back to that part, but yeah, there was like kind of a lot of just like, now we're here.
Yeah.
Especially for the ending. You know, they're trying to get it done quickly.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, for me, it just didn't really, didn't hold a lot of, you know, especially like what I kind of come to expect from Grant Morrison's work too, you know, of being like, I don't know, like really strongly about something, or like, you know, having really strong characters and characterization. You know, like thinking back to, you know, Animal Man, you know, that was, you know, about like taking a kind of silly 1950s, you know, character, and then really like expanding on who Buddy Baker is. And then like Doom Patrol, it's like, you know, that's all like a bunch of character studies of you know, different kinds of people dealing with different kinds of issues. This didn't really have that. You know, in Justice League 2, you know, it's like, you know, getting into more of their like psychologies, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of,
that's fair.
You know, and yeah, like we said, you know, this has the maybe humanist philosophy part that, you know, he's known for, but none of the non-linear or like countercultural, I guess, other than being like anti-war. I suppose it was kind of, it maybe was quite hard to be anti-war in 2004, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe in that way it was countercultural at the time, but it's hard for me to feel that way now.
Yeah.
Story just kind of, I mean, I already said it. Story kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
I think I need to turn on some war propaganda now.
Whoa. I don't think anyone's ever said that.
Is that the part that bummed you out, that was anti-war?
No.
I
she
need
has
some
to...
Top Gun Maverick. Quick, someone turn it on.
Hey, let's go.
Having weapons is cool, man.
Oh, man.
And if you...
My robo dog should be very happy while still being murderous enough for, you know, army use.
I mean, he gets to be happy at the end, and so does Tinker. Unfortunately, Pirate dies.
Unfortunately? Okay.
Yes, unfortunately, Talon.
No, Talon. The rabbit didn't do anything to you.
They should have all lived happily ever after.
But they maybe should have gotten reunited at their family home.
Listen,
they killed
Talon,
human beings. What are you talking about?
Commit crimes because they don't have the faculties to perceive right or wrong.
So they should be in a mental institution. You're right.
No, because they're animals.
Oh man!
Show me the dog asylum that they're gonna get put in, and then we can talk about it.
Okay, I do want to state for the record. About half of the things I said are partly me being I'm not as strong. I don't have as strong opinions as I am saying it. I just am
yeah.
You don't. I'd say it's fun being a contrarian.
Someone's being in a little cheeky mood.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not just a animal killing sociopath.
Yeah, to be honest, normally I'm the one who's like, just die already.
And I get why. It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. These are animals, damn you.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of sad. And I don't, like Cody said, I don't feel like the message was, I don't feel like it was unclear, but I also don't feel like it was that strong either. Like, it was kind of simple. It's like, this kind of sucks, you guys.
Yeah.
Look how much it sucks. And now they're getting there's more violence.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we shouldn't be violent.
Yeah. You know what I feel like a better version of this concept was? I mean, I guess it's not the same concept because it's, what it focuses on is, basically war being bad and military science experiments that are very sci-fi. So it has none of the animal aspects, but all of the thematic aspects, But there's a series by Image Comics called Think Tank, and it's about a DARPA scientist who's prodigy, inventor basically. And then he's one day oh, I just realized, well, not I just realized, but I can no longer justify making military technology. This is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so but also the military is not going to let me leave. I can't just quit, because I'm too much of a useful asset to them.
Well, hey, you know what? Put a bullet in me. That's all right.
Yeah, so it basically, he basically uses the technology against them and tries to escape, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Wait, what is this called?
Think Tank.
Think Tank. Okay.
Yeah. But that, I feel worked more, it had, but yeah, it has human characters and it's more about something and has a plot, This is, very much just kind of, strangely even for as intense and kind of sad it is, it's a little mellow too. Does that track for anybody else, or am I?
No.
I don't know what you mean by mellow.
Yeah.
I mean, I will agree. It's kind of surprising that they had a happy ending. I assumed that everyone would die and the government would just get away with it.
Right, yeah.
That's usually how these stories end, with nobody having learned any lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Except, won't do that experiment again.
Yeah.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't fully agree with myself either, but I just felt basically, despite what I'm supposed to feel, as far as action intensity and, sadness for the animals, it's just not there, I guess, all the way, just oh, okay, this stuff happened, and it doesn't maybe this is it. I don't feel a lot of stakes in the story.
I felt a little gratuitous.
Yeah.
It's you're gonna feel sad now.
Mm-hmm.
We got animals here.
And they were right.
That's why I always get mad when they bring in a dog in a movie, and I'm like, you're gonna kill that dog. I hate you.
Oh, so you really didn't like John Wick?
I would be more upset if it didn't work every single time.
No, that makes me really angry. How dare you manipulate my emotions? Get that golden retriever actor out of here.
I mean, if you care more about people, then it's fine. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people that disagree, but
so kind of changing the subject, but at the end of We3, there's 2 quotes that I think are awesome. We3 has all the elements of a blockbuster, and that's by the Los Angeles City Beast. And then creepily touching by The Onion.
So is a movie review from The Onion supposed to be taken seriously or as satire?
Well, so The Onion says creepily touching.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what you mean by movie review.
I feel like they were kind of
the comic review. Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay.
I think I just, because the other thing said a blockbuster, I just said
So
movie on accident.
To me, though, I'm like, yeah, if I take that seriously, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then We3 has all the elements of a blockbuster. Like, I can see where they're saying coming from, but it's just like you need to amplify it like 3 times.
Yeah.
You need more.
Yeah, definitely. I would assume that that's what they would do probably. And I could see it as a film, but not as a franchise film.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it just says blockbuster, which doesn't specifically mean.
True. I will say that in 2006, New Line Cinema optioned We3 as a film, with Morrison attached as the screenwriter. Yeah, and then script was completed. There was producers attached, and then the director of Kung Fu Panda was attached to the project as the director in 2008, and then after that, New Line Cinema was no longer involved. But yeah, it's unclear if it's just kind of still, in development, or if it's just like people are holding on to the rights of the film and it's just kind of never going to be made.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm all right if it never gets made.
Yeah.
You'd have to change some stuff. Probably adding some stuff. I'm not sure. You'd probably change it to like some faceless business, but you can't really get the Air Force to sign off on. You can definitely use the name United States Air Force in this movie about making killer animals.
Yeah, I could see it, like kind of with the success of like Cocaine Bear and like Sharknado, it's like having a killer animal, movie.
Cocaine Dog.
No.
Yes, people just want to see animals just go ape, if you'll excuse the joke.
Oh, I saw it. It was great. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, I don't know. You might be able to get away with the government. Maybe you do it's a foreign government.
Oh, yeah. Those Canadians.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's a little too close to home.
Well, yeah, I mean, the what was it? In Wakanda Forever, it was the French.
Yeah, that's right.
In America, you can do the French.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much everybody other than America is fair game.
We'd never do this.
You can't make a joke about us.
Yeah, though.
Yeah. So yeah.
I can definitely see them making this a movie.
Yeah, me too.
Never watch it.
It's a hard sell.
Yeah, I don't think I would be like, oh, maybe I'll go see that in theaters, and then I never would. Yeah, though. I think it would look interesting though too on screen. I can imagine it,
Oh yeah.
like just being like reveling in the gratuitousness of it, like in being like R-rated, you know.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh, they're already doing. I mean, not really connected to We3, but they have. Okay, not connected at all. I haven't seen the trailer. Good. Oh wait, no, I haven't seen the trailer. Never mind. Okay, there's a movie called Stray Dogs that's coming out.
Right.
And so that's definitely.
Oh, is it the one with Will Ferrell in it?
Yeah, and Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, wait a minute, didn't they already do a movie? It's called Get Hard.
Yeah, they did. Oh, actors can work together on more than one movie.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving back on to We3. Yeah, I can't really I mean, I will say that I'll read more Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely.
You can say that?
Yeah, I can say that just because, I mean, despite what I might think about this book, you know, I've already read other stuff from them, and so I'm already signed on, you know.
There you go.
So that doesn't really say much about my experience reading this, though.
Yeah,
I would not reread this.
Yeah, I wouldn't reread it. Yeah. I think I got the point.
Yeah. Well, I didn't while I didn't dislike the book, it just fell flat for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm still willing to read more Grant Morrison.
Yeah.
Even though there's only one thing I've read that I've enjoyed, but
yeah, and also
Man was good.
Yeah, but like contrast that to Mark Millar, where every time we read, we all say, "I hope we don't have to read more Mark Millar." I hate it more every time.
Yeah.
But Grant Morrison, it's like, oh yeah, I didn't really love this, but I'd be really interested in reading some more.
Yeah. Honestly, like this just feels like really restrained for him or for them too. You know, it was just like with Grant Morrison, you can almost always expect, even in his or in their Marvel work, you know, there will be just like some high concept stuff, you know, and this seemed like very tame of just like, oh yeah, robotics in the military. Like there was no like extraneous like you have to like think about like the metaphysical implications of this, you know. Or even like psychological implications, you know, because like that would be more like Batman, Serious House on Serious Earth. It's just kind of like, okay, this is just straightforward. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was impacted by, I think at this time he was still, or they were still writing on New X-Men, and they have gone on the record saying that they really did not like that project because of the editor-in-chief of the time being really hard to work with and really just like, you know, holding their creativity, you know, hostage kind of.
Gotcha.
So yeah, maybe, you know, you'd almost expect this to be like an outlet, but I don't know, maybe it was just like you're in such demanding job that's like not fun for you that it's like it kind of bleeds into other projects.
I feel like you can't fully express yourself kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
But also we don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that either. Yeah, I am definitely making guesses.
Anyway, don't you guys dare pick any more animal themed books.
Darn.
No more animals.
This coming from the person that chose Black Sad. Okay.
And Lackadaisy.
Those animals are cool. And their weapons are cool. They fight a bunch.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all we have for this book, though. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Taylon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawinta.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel as it helps us out on the YouTube algorithms and getting us seen by more and more people. You can also reach out to us with any thoughts you have on the things we talk about on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and on Instagram and Facebook at The Comic Panel. Also, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let us continue the conversation.